Okay, how y'all doing today? I am your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, the best film writer, director, St. Louis Facts, award-winning published author, activist, journalist, business owner, Lacey G. Soldier Turner. And today, my guest, man, we have one of the most, to me, iconic child actors who ever played, ever existed, musician, you know what I'm saying? Great family, man. I already know we finna find out a lot about what he's been doing on. We got Thuliso Dingwall up in there. Welcome to the platform.
How you doing? How you doing? It's good to be here, and thank y'all for having me.
No problem at all. So my first question to you is, where were you born and raised, and how was your upbringing?
Originally, I was born in Newton, Massachusetts, but I was raised in Clinton, Maryland, in Prince George's County, Maryland. And my upbringing, I would say, was I came from humble beginnings, so I'll say that. Parents were, working. One was working in the IT field, the other one's a nurse. So they were bringing me up right, and they gave me a lot of good guidance, and I love my parents. They're good people.
Okay, so before we even touch into the wire, how did you get into acting?
So what happened is I saw this commercial. This was back when we were living in Massachusetts. Okay. I saw this commercial. It was a Gap commercial. And I think this was at the time where, they had the little babies in the diapers and the underwear and stuff like that back then. So I told my mother that's what I wanted to do. And so we happened to be moving from Massachusetts to Maryland around the age of when I turned 5, essentially. And that's, when I met a woman named Linda Townsend. She's based out of Fort Washington, Maryland. And she basically groomed me, taught me the ropes, gave me etiquette, all of the basics. The foundation that I have came from her. And, from there, I kind of just kept going to the workshops, kept learning as much as I could, participating as much as I could in her teachings and things like that. So, and then eventually I wound up, profiting and growing fruit from that. So, yes.
Okay. So get it to the wire. To me, I feel like I should be a spokesman for the wire, because I make sure I tell everybody about this show. I feel this is the greatest show ever written in the history of shows. You know what I'm saying? I feel I am a writer, director. I am because of this show. So I am a spokesman for this. So how did you get the role of Kenard? And did your mom, your parents object to the cursing? Because Kenard was like, a potty mouth.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I got the audition the night before. I was practicing with my mother, practicing the lines. My dad kind of explained how big of a deal this could possibly be if I got the role. So I went in there. Mind you, I think I was probably the youngest guy in the room. Like in literal age, I was 10 years old. Everybody's like 14 at least in there, like in high school. I'm still in middle school. But the writer, Ed Burns, was in the audition room. He just liked me a lot. And by the time I drove from Baltimore back to Clinton, we're getting a call, saying, yeah, they liked you a lot. They want to book you. And it's like, it was a great thing. It was a great thing. In a matter of an hour, I heard back from him. So it was life-changing for me for sure. In regards to the cussing and everything though, it's actually a crazy story because, God rest her soul, my father forced me to call my grandmother to get permission to be on the show. So y'all got to thank her. Anybody else watching, y'all thank my grandmother, God rest her soul. You know what I'm saying? It was all grandma. She gave me the okay. She just was like, look, man, don't be doing that in real life. And, don't be in school, talking to people that way. I better not hear you talking to me that, you got to get the spiel from grandma. So, but yeah, she gave me her good graces, and it was the history from there.
Okay. So did you have any qualities of the character in your real life, or was it just like the character?
Oh no, polar opposites. Yeah, no, polar opposites. I had some of it, I had to kind of adapt from my dad, because of he's originally from the Bronx, New York. So that kind of feeling, it was kind of that grittiness and that toughness, that needed to get incorporated with the role. I kind of took a little bit of my dad and bits and pieces here and there, and next thing you know, Kenard came out. So yeah.
So by you embodying this character and you playing this role, can you explain to us why Kenard was the way he was?
Kenard was the way he was. Kind of the bit of a backstory for that, that I kind of had for him was he's homeless. He doesn't particularly live anywhere. He doesn't have any parents that's giving him that kind of guidance. Like I'm saying, completely polar opposites to me. So having to kind of keep those things in mind, and when getting into the character, remembering, well, he doesn't have anybody to tell him, no, you shouldn't do that, or to try to guide him in the right direction. So everything is tough, everything is survival, everything is grittiness, everything is, yeah, I'm a cuss and I'm gonna say what I want because I can, you know what I mean? Like that's what it was. So it's kind of just adopting that energy and that emotion and trying to put that into that. Because again, polar opposite. You're talking about if you know Clinton, Maryland, it's like the suburbs of suburbs. So yeah.
Okay, so now to the point. You already know, man.
Yeah.
You kill Omar. Everybody, he was the most beloved character on there. So how did you find out about, like, you get the script like, hey, you got to kill Omar, and then I heard you was crying afterwards. So
yeah.
How did you feel afterward? How did you find out that you had to kill him, and then how did you feel like afterwards today?
So the way we found out, we got the sides are basically the script beforehand, and I'm reading it and I'm reading through, and I'm like, nah, let me take this to Dad. Let me see if this is reading right. I took it to my father. He's reading it, and then he just makes a face. He was like, "You gonna shoot Omar?" And it was like, "Oh." It was like, "Oh." He did. It was one of, how you look at something, you like, what I'm saying? It was one of those for him. So, my
like,
mom.
He was like, Ed Burns, is this a typo? No.
Right there. Exactly. So, once the day came to shoot the actual scene, mind you, I'm 11 years old. I've never held a gun in my life. Never even, any of that, been around any of that. But, they showed me what to do. And essentially we did the first rehearsal of the scene with the effects and everything. And like you said, yeah, I was crying. I ran down the block because what I was instructed to do after I shot him, I ran out of the store. But there was a whole block there that I could run down. I beelined it down that block, man. I really thought I killed him. You know what I mean? It looked so real to me at that point. But I ran down all the way down the block. My mother and one of the makeup technicians, Miss Debbie, she came down. They both came down, kind of got me together, and then, we're in the trailer, and then Michael K. Williams comes in the trailer. He's like, yo, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Everything's fine. Just basically trying to, work with me and trying to calm me down and everything. So, I mean, yeah, no, it was an experience, especially at a young age. And I'm glad I was able to go through that and learn, the differences and things like that with that. So.
Did they